Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Chris Creed. Welcome to the Wake Up, Get Better podcast. I am out here on a hike, and I thought I would bring today's show to you from out here to do a little something different. It's a bit windier than I was expecting it to be, but hopefully the audio will be good. But on this episode, I want to talk to you guys about what to do when things are going well. There's lots of different resources about what to do when things are not going well. There's not a lot of resources of things to do, of what to do when things are going well. So, a few weeks ago, I had a cold and I had a really sore throat. Have you guys ever had like an intensely sore throat and like everything? It hurts to swallow, it hurts to talk. Everything is just a bummer. And I remember in that moment thinking, like when I would swallow something, like, oh my God, like it hurts so bad. I will never forget what it feels like. Once I feel better, I will never forget to be grateful for being healthy. And I had that thought, and I don't know, maybe you guys have felt that way, like when you are so sick, or maybe you're or injured or whatever, and you have a moment where you're like, wow, once I'm feeling better, I will never forget to be grateful for that health. Problem is that once we aren't feeling that immediate pain anymore, we don't remember that we're healthy and that it feels really good to be healthy. And the reason we don't think about it is because the pain is gone. And I think that is one of the reasons why we don't have any resources available for business people, for entrepreneurs, for anybody really, when things are going well. There's no resources or things that people tell you to do that you're supposed to do when things are going good. There's lots of stuff out there for what to do when things are going bad. Not a lot out there for when things are going good. So I am going to record this episode to talk about that, in an attempt to give some sort of framework of what to do when things are going good. And I'm going to start this with the preface of, I am making this particular episode specifically because the best time to make a plan for how you're going to remember something when you get out of it is when you're in it. Because when you get out of it, the pain's gone. Right? So the best time to be intentional about learning the lessons that the pain has to teach you is when you're in the pain. And it's uncomfortable to do that because all you can think about is being out of it. But that's the best time to look and see what is trying to come through, what is trying to be taught in that moment. And that's what I'm doing right now. I can look around and see like, okay, things aren't going exactly the way I want to. I'm not feeling the energy I want to feel. I actually just came out of just the other day, started feeling like myself again. Honestly, I was feeling like this lack of momentum, and that is really tough for people like us, right? Who are, we crave momentum, and it actually fuels us. And when you start to not feel that, it becomes difficult, right? So I'm just coming out of that. And so in a lot of ways, I'm just like on the cusp of okay, I'm feeling better. Things are going well. So I'm starting to assess that. And so that's exactly what this video is. I hope it's helpful to you. So when things are going well, we have to remember that things are going well. We have to feel that and be energized by that. Because if we crave that momentum and then we finally get it and then we forget that we're having it, it's easy also to just go back or maybe try to find something that's going to give us the lack of momentum. We don't want to do that, right? And this is proven by a lot of people. I heard somebody talking the other day, and they were speaking with someone who works with high-level entrepreneurs and people who build, multi 8-figure businesses. And they said, what is the what's the number one thing that you see that's a problem with entrepreneurs? And he said, the thing that I see people get tripped on up on the most is that when they start something that works, they get uncomfortable with the fact that it's working. And what they end up doing is leaving the thing that works and pursuing something with the thought that they'll just be able to just make it work over here too. So they abandon the thing that works to go pursue something else. This is a common thing. We don't want to do that when we're feeling good. So here's one of the things that I'm noting for myself, because I've done this myself too. I built up when I first started in marketing, I built up a lot of one-on-one work and was building up a marketing agency. And I went from like $0 to nearly $10,000 a month in like 3 months time. And in recurring revenue. And I had that moment where this is working really well. I'm uncomfortable now because this feels easy, like almost too easy, right? And so I'm gonna go just shut this down literally and go do something else. I had that moment. And so that's thing number one. When things are working, note that it's okay that things are working. It's actually good that things are working. What you've been trying to do is make things work. So don't run from that. It's uncomfortable. It's not gonna feel good. It's gonna feel scary probably. And you're gonna feel like maybe something's wrong because it's working. I know it doesn't make sense, especially when you're in a place where things aren't working. But when things start working really, really well, this is a thing that happens really often. So that's thing number one. If things start working, don't freak out and look for a way out. Don't try to go start something new. Don't mess up what's working, right? Just keep doing what's working for a long time. That is thing number one. The other thing that is a key piece to making sure that you are staying in a healthy mind place when things are working is to be around people who are pursuing similar things. Put yourself in rooms with people who are succeeding. And that's not to say that like you need to cut ties with everybody who's not succeeding. I'm not saying that. I'm saying put yourself around other people who are succeeding. Have conversations with people who are doing things that are working and have been working for a long time. And that is something I didn't quite grasp when I was starting out. I thought that I needed to be in rooms with people, and I joined masterminds and spent a lot of money in that arena. I thought I was doing that to up-level myself, but now I know that people actually do that so they can be around and have conversations with people who are winning. And it's not so that they can win more, it's so that they can keep winning because what they are doing is already working. That's why masterminds are so valuable, and why being in groups where everybody in there is pursuing something similar and they've actually made it work. There's a difference between joining something like that because you are in that group and join it because you want to be in the group. I think, and listen, make whatever decisions you want with your life and business, but if you haven't made it work at the beginning yet, you haven't figured out that piece, I think it's better to grind it out on your own. Have conversations with people, of course, and build a small group, but don't spend 30 grand and join a mastermind full of people who have been making it work for a long time, because that's not for you yet, and that's okay. But what is for you is smaller groups. So look at people who are on the way up, who are like coming in, like there's groups for that. But don't join the group, right, where people are making, 8 figures when you haven't made your first 100 grand yet, right? That's not for you, right? But if you are consistently making that 100 grand and you want to up level, then that could be a time. But you see the difference there. It's like this subtle shift between you're going up, or you haven't really found the momentum yet, and you're in orbit, right? You know, they say like rockets, when they leave the atmosphere, the hull, the rocket shakes so violently that it feels like it's going to fall apart. It feels like it is going to explode. And then it's like shake, 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 boom. And it's out in the atmosphere. And it's in orbit, right? And it's just space. And it's so much easier once you're in orbit. But that whole ride up, man, dude, it can feel a little bit like chaos. And that's why that's the space that we entrepreneurs seem to become addicted to, that chaotic rise. It's the orbit that scares us. That's ironic, isn't it? It's the easy part that scares us. And that's when it's most important to join those groups and be around people who have already made it into orbit. Not to say you can't join it before, and it's just saying that if you try to settle into orbit before you got in there, that's also dangerous. So it's just something to know. The third thing and the final thing that I want to talk about here, and it's actually something that comes up a lot on the show, and one of the reasons why I made it, honestly, is because if you want to make sure that you stay in orbit, that you don't crash and burn, it's important to know yourself. And for the longest time, I thought like, that's just some like self-help stuff that doesn't actually work. And then I realized why that exists. It's so that you can handle the person you want to become. It's so that you can handle what it takes to be the person that you are being. Because I think that might be a big part of why that happens to entrepreneurs. They say like, oh, I said that we get addicted to that feeling of chaos. It's on the rise up, and then we get scared in orbit. I think one of the reasons why that is because things get so quiet around us after the rise that we get to listen to our own thoughts, and we realize, oh, there's a lot of shit in there that I didn't deal with because it was so loud before, right? And so the third thing is to know yourself, to explore those thoughts and actually work it out. And that's where being in a group and all of these things kind of can work together, right? So like thing number one is to not stop the thing that's working in pursuit of something else. Thing number two is to find a group of people that are also in orbit. And thing number three is to know yourself and explore the dark side of the moon. You know, the things that are going to stop you are more likely in here than out here, right? So the more you are aware of that, the more likely you are to stay in this place of solidness. Now, listen, there's going to be ebbs and flows. There's going to be peaks and valleys. I know that's always going to be the case. It certainly is for me. Right now, I happen to be on the upswing of one of those valleys. And what stopped me this time was up here. Nothing out here, bro. Nothing out here. It was up here. And so I'm making this video for me right now, as just like I said in the last episode, to document what's happening in my life, so that, because I know that the best time to think about a plan for what not to do is when it is fresh in my mind that I don't want to feel the way I felt for the last couple months. You know, I don't want to feel the way I felt, right? I don't want to go back to that place. Now, I'm not saying I never will. Of course, things happen. But the more I can actively think about and be present with what I want versus what I don't want, the better off I'm going to be. And the best time to think about that is not when things are going really well. The best time to think about it is when things aren't going well. And so I hope this video is helpful to you. It was helpful for me to get it out. If you're in a place right now where things are going really well, congratulations. That's awesome. That's what we're all striving for. That's good. You made it. Hey, don't get scared and do something else because you're addicted to the chaos. Don't try to lone wolf it, okay? And don't ignore what's going on up here. Deal with that shit, okay? You got to. So to recap your game plan, if you're winning right now and you're in orbit, you just went through the excruciating, shaking, violent rocket rise up to orbit. Congratulations, that's awesome. Here's your plan to make sure you stay in orbit. 1, don't switch up what's working so that you can experience the chaos of the rise again. Don't do that. Not worth it. More people fail because of that than anything else. Number 2, find a group of people who are in a similar situation so that you can wrap yourself in that environment of people who are winning and people who are in orbit, so you guys can have the same conversations and meaningful conversations about what's working, what's not working, all that. Number 3, don't ignore what's going on up here. It's easy to not listen to it when everything's loud and chaotic, but when you're in orbit, things start to get quiet, this thing starts spinning. Don't just ignore it, man. Deal with it. Talk to somebody. Get some help. Make sure that you don't try to go it alone. All right? I love you guys. This has been fun out here on a hike. Let me know in the comments if you like this style of video or podcast of me just kind of exploring and putting together a framework. I'd love to hear more from you. Got another interview coming up for you next week. It's going to be awesome. But until then, y'all, my name's Chris Creed. This has been the Wake Up, Get Better podcast. I'll talk to you soon.